Hi, everyone. I'm back. Not that anyone missed me, but I've been taking some time off to regroup, I guess. Honestly, I've been struggling, and I know a lot of us are. And I finally have decided that I want to come on and talk about the struggle. Because what's happening beyond this fiasco of, the stress about taxes and tariffs and people being taken on the streets, and I mean everything awful that is happening. But there was also this part of me that was struggling because everything I believe in, everything that I have worked for in my entire work history seems to have been made null and void. And by that I mean is I've always been about women's rights, DEI, creativity, the importance of education, the importance of creative expression, the value of being able to speak out, the right to free speech, the empathy, communication, collaboration, all of those things are being wiped out from toxic people who somehow got elected to be president. And I struggled. I struggled with the reality that a good portion of this country voted for that. And I've been just trying to deal with all of that and not speaking up and then beating myself up over not doing enough and just kind of in this cycle of despair. But I don't want to be that anymore, partially because of attending a rally on April 5th, partially because I realize that my voice still should have power, even if I only have 3 followers in the world, partially because if I give up, then I'm not modeling how I want my own daughter to exist in this world, um, and just learning and growing. One of my favorite accounts right now is Park Rose Permaculture because she's really fabulous at inspiring me to think and understand what's going on better and see the reality around me. So I wanted to offer some thoughts on how we move forward as human beings. Last week I wrote on Substack an article that I called The Inhumanity of It All, the capitalist patriarchal desire to become gods, because I really believe that a lot of what's happening now lies in that. And yes, I know people will come at me for this, but it's true. The systems that we live by have gone to the heads of those who crave the power of gods. For example, the patriarchal desire of men, and of course, I don't mean all men here, to put themselves above anybody else has led to a world where they ignore the needs of anyone of any race, culture, gender, religion, whatever, that does not fit for their definition of a powerful man or an alpha male or whatever term is being used right now. The greedy system of capitalism has placed money on the altar, built a world of golden calves, and refuses to acknowledge that every human has the right to shelter, food, education, and safety, among other things. And the egotistical technology industry has embraced the idea that all that matters is making things faster and easier without even thinking about what happens to humans when technology takes over. And I'm not talking about when robots come in and, mankind is destroyed. I'm talking about legitimately what are we to do if you take all the fun parts of life, all of the creative thinking, collaborative, communicative parts of life away from the workers, from the people, and give all those jobs to human beings? Well, I'll tell you what I think the powers in charge want. They want us to be doing menial labor. They want us to bring factories in and be doing little things for slave wages. And oh wait, no, you'll argue, while they're going to, you know, give us tax cuts on overtime, but that means that they want you to work overtime. They want us to work ourselves to death. That is what they want. And I'm sorry I use this term slave labor, but really that's what they're trying to create of everybody who is not what they consider worthy. And who do they consider worthy? White, wealthy, 1 to 2 percenters. Okay. Um, they want us to work harder, faster, and more for less money while taking away all things that make us human. They want to become gods who replace us with technology, leaving us nothing. And I really believe that's true, that there's this egotistical a thread through everything that is happening that is trying to place white men in particular and their white women supporters. And yes, I know I'm a white woman, but I'm not one of those white women, okay? I have been, I'm not, okay? I just am not. Um, but they want to put themselves on the level of God. They think that they speak for the voice of God, whatever God you're talking about. And I'm not attacking all religious people. I respect those who still have faith. I was raised as a conservative Jew, and for a long time I was pretty religious, but now no. I believe that there's energy that connects us all. I don't know if I believe in a creator, but I believe that we are connected with the earth, with each other. And I know that sounds all woo woo. And that's part of the reason I haven't been talking lately, because I often think that my thoughts are not understandable by people who lack empathy or learning, or are unwilling to see beyond their own cultural, sexual, gender, religious, blah, blah, blah identities. They're so afraid of being wrong. And I'm more like, well, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I've already been told I'm going to hell because I don't believe in Jesus Christ as God or whatever. So at least I'll do my best while on this earth to live by the rules of morality and empathy and kindness. Then I went to the conference, and there I found inspiration. And I found it in couple of things. One was when there was a song and people were singing. Not all the people, because really it was an old song. It was a 1960s song. Yes, that one that meant that everyone should know. But I was like, ooh, we need someone, and it's not me because I'm not a songwriter, although I could write the lyrics maybe, but someone who can create an anthem for this time. And an anthem that doesn't just touch like one people, but an anthem that's the type that everybody, regardless of what kind of music genre you like, will sing. And why? Because I do believe in the power of creative community building that happens. At the same, I didn't get to see it because I was far back, but there was also a little bit of I don't know what was it, theater action that was happening too, and I was too far back to see it. But even that, just getting people active in creative ways, that inspired me. The creativity of the signs, the laughter, the joy that we found in the midst of all of this craziness, and I'm going to share some of my favorites here. uh, that inspired me. Talking to people, and I was a little sad because it was mostly older people at the one that I attended. There were a few younger people, and I didn't understand why until I accidentally turned my camera to film these two 20 somethings, who were all masked up, heads, covered. And they said, please don't film me. I don't want to be arrested. And I'm like looking around at all of these older people who are out, proud, some of them masked for medical reasons, clearly, but most of us were not hiding from cameras, from pictures. We were talking. And these people were like, no, no, no. And then they got upset. We are doomed anyway because Cory Booker took money from APEC. Now, I'm not saying that that's right. And I already mentioned I'm Jewish. I'm in that caught in between that, of course, I don't approve of what Netanyahu and Israel are doing. And I don't want war. I grant that. But I was really upset by hearing them say that, because what it was saying to me was probably there's a high possibility that they never voted. Or if they voted, they did not vote for Kamala because, she purity politics. But that purity politics is still going to damage us. It's what destroyed us in 2016. Trust me, I got into argument after argument with Bernie Bros. And yes, it was Bernie Bros. I'm not dissing what Bernie's doing now, but there were a lot of toxic males who didn't recognize that there were problems. We got screwed again with Elizabeth Warren when Bernie came in when she had plans that would have supported his plans. But we lost the out, and now again, the third time in a row, it's been made clear that this country will never elect a woman, especially a black woman, and that, I'm sorry, is disgusting. And it all comes from this idea that somehow progressive leaders have to be perfectly aligned with everything that the younger generation believes in. And the reality is that's not how life works. And that made me sad because honestly, while I don't know that I will ever reconnect with any MAGA, I can and I'm not sure I forgive them, but many of them have been sucked into this cult consciousness that comes from a lack of education, a lack of support, lack of whatever, and trick themselves into following this someone who has been treated like a god, has been placed on the pedestal as equal to Jesus Christ himself. So, but the far left, the extremists on the far left, know better, and yet they still choose purity politics, and that makes me angrier. And I'm like, okay, how do I deal with this? How do I talk to these people? And on that situation, I do is just like, you know what, moving on, looking at for more signs and stuff, because that's what I was doing that day. But I wanted to really talk about those things because it's a struggle to find empathy, to find connection, to find communication when people are not listening. So I'm partially on here to give 3 suggestions, I think. Well, to give suggestions about how to move forward as human beings. And that's first, reconnect with our humanity. What does that mean? Talk to a neighbor, be kind with each other, treat ourselves with the dignity that we expect to treat others, and treat everyone else with that same dignity. Practice empathy. How do you practice empathy? By listening, communicating, asking questions, sharing stories, and not attacking. And maybe third is by not giving up and speaking out, which is what I'm trying to do right now. So, thank you. And if you want to have conversations with me, I hope you'll follow me here, join me, follow some of the people that I love, and start speaking out. Go to the next rally. I know it feels futile in a way. I know it feels like, well, how is this going to stop everything? But the louder and more creative we get with pointing out that humans deserve the right to live happily without starvation, without working ourselves to death, to be creative, to enjoy our lives and not fear every day, regardless of the color of your skin. Unless we do that, if we don't start living that ideal, then we might as well give up. But if we do give up, I just want to remind the less wealthy of the wealthy who might be benefiting from this. Once they've eaten us, they'll start eating you. That's all I can say. All right. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will be back soon with another video, I hope.